going on, YouTube? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, happy almost Christmas day, all kinds of great days today. Hope you guys are enjoying your week. I know I am. As you can see, we're still celebrating the Christmas spirit behind us. Give everybody a couple of minutes to join in. Jesse Tang. What's going on, Jesse? Welcome, welcome. Are we up and running on the Facebook as well? Looks like we should be. Says we are. So we'll give it a second to show up on Facebook. But what's going on, Kevin? Happy Wednesday to you, my man. We're going to have a little Q&A today. Open questions. It's actually hot tonight. Doesn't help that I'm drinking hot coffee. Got some other cool things to talk about. Give you guys a little insight of what's going on. If this thing ever starts and goes live here. What's going on here? Hang on, guys. I'm checking to see what's going on with the Facebook side. Not sure why it's not showing up. So we're going to do a little Q&A. We're going to dig into that a little bit. And the reason being, we had a few of you ask last week if we could do some Q&A today. And I figured, why not? We haven't done it in a while. I know a lot of you have questions. So Serious Entertainment. What's up, my man? You can ask questions, woman of the past, about state, and if I know the answer, I'll be happy to help you answer that question. And obviously, if you guys ask something that I don't know the answer to, okay, so it looks like we're live, according to what's going on over here. Just hang tight with me, guys, while I figure out what happened with Facebook. But yeah, I can try to answer whatever questions you might have regarding state. And if I don't know the answer, then, you know, I'll tell you that too. But I do want to talk about some really cool things here that we do have coming on. Here we go. Start broadcast. Okay. So now the live should be up and running here any second. So there we go. That's what I wanted to see. So what we want to talk about is we're going to talk about Q&A. So questions you guys have, try to keep it prosocial. Do me that solid favor. Try to keep it somewhat on track to prison related. It can be about myself. It can be about questions you guys have. It can be pretty much anything you want to ask about my past, about my lifestyle, about where I'm at now, or anything you guys want to know about your own issues. Let's see. So what questions do we have? Real question. Did you doubt me? Doubt who? Not sure what you're referring to. Somebody asked a question. Billy Gomez, did you doubt me? Doubt you in what way, Billy? What are you referring to? You're out there doing amazing things, Billy. You're kind of hard to doubt. Did you ever have the lawyer on for a... Not yet. I'm trying, Juan. But a lot of people just flake out on you at last minute, just like we had a ladies' night Wednesday night, and that got kind of rough because basically a lot of people just don't show up last minute, and it makes it rough when you have all these plans for content and then it's a no-show. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so now. Also, you know me, I love it when we see other people that have been in prison that are doing good things, that are staying out of trouble, doing the right thing. So there's a gentleman by the name of Mike. He actually did 17 and a half years. And he's got a business now. He's got, it looks like a pretty profitable business. And he actually got out just before me. I met him at Coleman Low. He did 17 and a half years. He did more time. He did more years than I did months. That's how much this guy did. So I would love for you guys to show some love. He's actually got a YouTube channel. He just started his YouTube channel, and he sent it to me today. And I think it's amazing that he's busting his ass and doing what he needs to do. So here's a link to his channel. If you guys get a chance, jump over there and show some love. subscribe, comment on some of his videos. Let him know, you know, you guys are RDAP Dan supporters, and you're also going to be supporters of him, because it's hard, guys, getting out of prison a lot of times to get on track and do the right thing. I'm working on more on my narratives as I watch this. Good, Juan. Hopefully Shelly got with you today to make sure, because she had some confusing questions about your narrative. What's going on, Kimberly? All right, let's try to answer some questions here before it gets out of control. All right, so what do we got? What's the first question we got here? Let's go back to the top. Jonathan, is there RDAP camp in California area? So Lompoc was the one that had RDAP, Jonathan. And what happened is there was a transition. This is going back several months now. Anybody that was at Lompoc camp that qualified for RDAP was getting transferred to Sheridan for RDAP. So as of right now, I do not believe so, and these things can change randomly, so we'll have to keep an update for that. And let's see, what else do we have here? Did you ever have the lawyer? Nope, not yet. We didn't have the lawyer on. Got a few homies in the feds. That's why I checked you out. So serious. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Sorry that you got, hopefully you're reaching out to those family and friends in the feds. Are you ever afraid you will get stalked? Jesse Tang is asking me, am I ever afraid that I will get stalked? Not really. I mean, I get some weird text messages. I get some weird emails. I get some weird phone calls. And maybe we'll start sharing some of that stuff with you guys. But nothing that I'm actually afraid of yet. But, you know, it comes with the territory when you start putting your stuff out there, and my phone number and emails on everything that I potentially do. So stalkers are welcome. Just please don't show up at my house with like violence. We have had some weird stuff happen. We've had some random notes stuck to our front door. There was jewelry left on our front door with like a tag on it, literally hanging on the doorknob. Shelly thought it was a gift that I got for her because she came home. She's like, what is this? And I'm like, I have no idea. It was hanging on the door, so we don't know how it got there or why it's there. But little things, little weird things happening like that. What else we got here? That I would make it, get married, and be this man after all this. Yeah, man, I believe in you, Billy. I think, you know, what matters is you believe in yourself, you know, because when people say they don't believe in people, I don't think it's that they don't necessarily believe in them. I think what it is we're so used to seeing people say they're going to do certain things, they're going to measure certain goals, and they're going to try to achieve it, and they just don't. So, you know, it's just one of those things that I don't think they doubt you. I think they just doubt the majority of when people say it. So it's kind of shocking and refreshing when we see somebody stick to a plan and try to succeed to the top. Let us have the phone numbers again. What are you talking about, Robert E? Which phone numbers? Are you allowed to go to other states while on probation, and how much longer will you be on probation? So yes, I'm allowed to go to other states on probation. I just got to get permission. I can't just get up and go. I have to get basically a travel pass approved from my probation officer, and it all depends on, it all depends on what you're doing while you're on probation, if you're staying out of trouble, and your relationship that you have with probation. My relationship, I feel, is exceptionally well, and as long as I give him fair notice, and I think at this point I could say, hey, I got to go somewhere next week, and you'd have no problem with it. Honestly, depending on the situation, if I had an opportunity and I had to fly out tomorrow or the next day, as long as I could get him on the phone, I could probably get approved that. So, Jesse, I've got, technically, I've got roughly about a year and a half to go, a little bit more than a year and a half, and I'm going to try to get it terminated here once I hit 18 months. But we'll see. And if I got 3 years of probation, I've got almost a year and a half in, so we'll see what happens. I'm okay with it the way it is right now, though. Yeah, that was a rough one. Billy is on probation, and he had to get permission to go to Puerto Rico. He went there to try to help out the Puerto Rican government rebuild, and that kind of flopped, not on his own doing, but the Puerto Rican government didn't really want to make it happen. What if you wanted to take a trip out of the country? Would they allow that? That's now you're talking about passports. A lot of times when you're on probation, you can't have a passport. So that's going to be a case-by-case basis, Juan. You're going to have to really prove to them that you're worthy of it. And I don't know if they're just going to do it for vacation. Not really sure about that. Guys, please make sure if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Let's see who's calling. Just my buddy. All right, so let's talk about some big news. So I spoke to, now I can't give any details yet because it's not a done deal yet, but I spoke to a production company today. That's a major production company that actually comes out, films, produces shows, TV shows, and then sells them to different networks. So they're very interested in doing a show on prison consulting and prison consultants. And I'm in the mix. They're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. They're looking at about 4 or 5 prison consultants total that are going to make up this possible TV show. We don't know where it's going to go yet. And I'm really excited because, I mean, obviously, the whole thing that I love doing is sharing this information and getting it out in front of as many people as possible. And obviously, YouTube has been amazing for that. YouTube has helped us reach such heights in this that that it's allowed us to do things that we typically wouldn't have been able to do without the access of like YouTube. But if we could get this put onto a major network, I mean, can you guys imagine? I know that guy, that's RDAP Dan on TV talking about prison consulting. I guess, you know, and they have some legitimate concerns, which would be, how entertaining can it be? Is it going to grab the general public and stay entertaining? And I totally understand that. So, you know, and I think it's entertaining. I think if you look at these people's stories, what they're going through, you hear their crimes, what they did, a lot of like white collar type crimes, nonviolent drug offender type crimes, seeing these things on what they did. I think that is interesting in itself, and that can definitely be made into a very suspenseful on how it started, where they're at now, how much time are they going to get following some of these cases, seeing what they're going to get, you know, following them into sentencing basically, and going through the whole process of what type of time somebody's looking at and how they're dealing with that mentally. I think there's a lot of really creative ways to keep that super entertaining, at least in my own opinion. Most countries won't let you in. So what other questions we got here? But I'm really excited about that, guys. That's something that's been something that I've been wanting for a long time, just to get that extra information out there. So we're going to see where that goes. Is there anything we can do to help them? I think if the show's going to happen, Kimberly, I think I'm already picked. When I said there's 4 or 5, there's 4 or 5. The show's going to not just be surrounded around me. It's going to be surrounded around 4 or 5 prison consultants. I think I might be one of the most interesting ones, but just because my style is a little different than the average person, but I would have a blast doing it, and it's definitely right up my alley. I would have so much fun, and the fact that we would be able to share this information with so many more people, that's really, really what's got me interested in doing it. And the fact that they want to show it in a positive light and how it can help people. That's important to me, because as much as I would love to do something like that, it's not at the expense of causing more damage to this industry than is what is needed. Good news, but the text a production. Not sure what you were saying, woman of the past there. What you have done is amazing. Be wise, and yes, look into it however they want. Action, and draws attention. Attention draws audience. Don't allow anyone to water you down. Yeah, that's what we spoke about, Billy, and they seem to have some pretty good passion about it. I'm gonna have another phone call. I spoke to them on the phone today. Been emailing with them back and forth the last couple days, and haha, what's going on, Chevy? Chevy's in. Everybody say hello to Chevy. Chevy is one of our newest clients. Welcome, Chevy. Glad you could join us. You know, the climbing in clients over the last, I would say, a couple of months has really shown me that we're making a strong statement into this industry. And the reason why I say that is, I'm not on here with a shirt and tie. I'm not claiming to be some white collar consultant only. You know, we've really tried to start this from the beginning as real and as raw, at least my feel on raw as it can be. I've never had interest in trying to pretend like I'm an attorney or focusing solely on somebody that can only afford $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. We've tried to explain to everybody as much as possible, whether you're a white collar criminal that has tons of money in the bank, or you're a blue-collar criminal, or you're a nonviolent, just small, low-end drug dealer that got caught up in something, if you're heading off to federal prison potentially and it's your first time and you don't know what to expect, that fear and anxiety of what can be done and what's going to happen is the same. The big difference is how much money people spend. And a lot of times we are raised to think, or we see in society, the more money you spend, the better the outcome is going to be. I talk to people all the time that once they get sentenced, they feel like if they had more money, they could have bought their way out of it. Now, in a state situation, that might be true, but those of you that have gone through the federal system, that have been spending money on federal attorneys, you guys know. You know that how much money you've spent, and then at the end of the day, you're taking the plea that the prosecutors are offering you. We see very little difference from our side from what a high-end attorney versus a, let's call it a federally appointed attorney. We see very little difference in the type of sentences that are given out based on the type of crimes. It's very common. It's a very even playing field across the board. If you spent millions of dollars on your defense and you spent no money on your defense and you have a similar crime, we see similar sentences. Take that with a grain of salt for what it is, guys, but I'm telling you that what you can do to help yourself is equally as important, what you're doing to properly prepare. And I'm glad that Chevy found us, and Chevy was the one that said, man, we need you. I told you guys the other day, I spoke about him. I said, a guy called me up and he's like, we need you on our team. You know, and that's what I want to hear, guys, because this is how we need to be looking at it. We need to be looking at it as a team. What are we going to be doing to help you help yourself? How are we going to complement what your attorney is already trying to do? How are we going to present you with questions that you can ask your attorney to help understand your situation that much better? So I really, really, really love the fact when people understand what it is that they're getting and they see the benefit. And we've seen a giant hike in this over the last couple of months, which tells me people are drawing away from a lot of other prison consultants and kind of moving in our direction because they're realizing that you're not going to get something addition to what we're offering by spending another $10,000, $15,000. It's becoming very apparent that we are making a stand in this industry that Federal Prison Time Consulting LLC, that's the actual name of the company, is doing its job then above and beyond of what anybody's expectations were. Let's read here. Question. I was saying, this is woman of the past. I was saying that to pass a lie detector test at state prison, is it possible to have a petition to ask for the test with a good lawyer? What do you think? Sure, but a lie detector test, good or bad, is not going to be enough evidence to either convict or get you off. You know, because lie detector tests can be fooled, they can be tricked, they can be wrong, good or bad. So, I mean, it can't hurt. It depends what you're trying to do. But that in itself, I don't see that, you know, getting you broken off. I can't give my opinion about attorneys on here without getting myself in any more trouble. Enough said, Chevy. We know what you mean, my man. Please, God, Chevy says, please, God, if any of you are going through what I am, federal indictment, please get in touch with Dan's team. Thanks for the shout out there, Chevy. I will send you your gift card in the mail. Just kidding. I did not pay Chevy for that. Dan, why are you wearing a beanie indoors? Because I was cold until I got in this room, and I didn't do my hair, and it's a mess. Here, you want to change? Here we go. Take the beanie off just for you guys. All right, beanie's gone. How's that? Is that better? Actually, this is a lot cooler than the beanie. All right. We got to fix that. We got to style. We got to style the, what are these called? Pawns? Pom-poms? I don't know. So get your lawyer to get a lie detector administrator. Actually, that's a great person to talk to about women of the past. I think Juan Carlos was going through something similar on a Fed side. So there's some great information. Guys, feel free to ask your questions. Keep throwing them out. I changed hats. You guys like the Santa hat? All right. It's almost Christmas time. I wore it last time. Actually, I said I was going to wear this every day. Not every day, but every video until Christmas. Christmas is on Monday. What are you guys doing for Christmas? Anybody going anywhere? Is anybody getting any really cool gifts for somebody, or maybe taking a trip? I'm not sure. I've got some ideas what I want to do for Shelly for Christmas and what I want to do for my kids and stuff. But, you know, not sure yet. Do you find many people who are depressed in prison? So Jesse's asking, do we find many people that are depressed in prison? I would say you're going to find, you don't find that many depressed people in prison. What you find is a lot of negative Nancy's in prison. You find people that like to complain about anything and everything. You could tell them, hey man, it's a really nice day out today. Oh, except it's so fucking hot. You know, it's like, okay, man, this food's not bad. I don't know what you're talking about. This food is the worst food ever. They don't give you, it's like always finding the negative. If we really want to, we can focus on the negative on anything. It's not that hard. It's sometimes harder to find the positive in things, but the more and more you start focusing on those positives and not dwelling on negativity, you find yourself feeling better. But Jesse, there are people that are negative in prison, but it's by a choice. Prison doesn't make you negative. Especially if you're going to a camp or low, it does not make you negative. Being negative is a state of mind and is a choice. You can definitely fight through that with positive self-talk. You know, don't allow yourself to get caught up in those irrational thinking statements, because being negative is a thinking behavior, a poor thinking behavior. You're struggling with something, and instead of dealing with what you're struggling with, you're kind of expelling it in a negative way. Why do you have such conviction to help others? It's a pretty good question, Scott. You know, it might be a little bit of a selfish reason. I like the way it makes me feel. It feels good to be able to help others. It feels good to be able to, it doesn't just feel good to be able to give back. It's like when I first started doing this, I thought it'd be fun to go on a YouTube channel. I didn't really have much thought about wanting to really give back. Everybody says, I want to give back. I talk to people all the time that are getting ready to go to prison that say, I can't wait till I'm out so I can give back. It's easy to say that. Doing it becomes a challenge, because once you start doing it a lot, it becomes expected. And now I do it so much that I don't feel like it's expected. But I think the gratification that I get from it really kind of encourages me to want to keep doing it and seeing what I can do next. It's like everyone says, you know, when are you ever going to be happy, or when's enough? And we see people like this, you know, you buy a new car, it's not enough. You get a raise at your job, it's not enough. There's never enough. And I think the problem with thinking about that is we have these expectations of how we think things are going to feel. And Billy Gomez, if you're still in the room, you can probably attest to this. Imagining what it's going to feel like to get released from prison is such an amazing feeling. Thinking about when you watch people get released from prison, like when you're in prison and you're watching other people get out, you're like, man, I'm so happy for them, but I can't wait for that day to be me. Well, when that day comes, the expectation of what you thought it was going to feel like, it's not quite met. It's almost like, I'm glad to be out, but man, it doesn't feel quite as good as I thought it was going to feel, because then the reality of the real world, everything sets back in. Don't get me wrong, I was very happy to leave the prison. But what I'm saying is, if you go into this with the right state of mind, and this is not just going to prison, this is life. If you know, if your goal is to make $1 million, just realize when you make that $1 million, whatever it is that you're still craving is not going to stop. Then you might think it's more money or nicer cars or nicer houses. What I've realized is it's chasing that high, which is what makes me feel good. That's why I don't get all excited when someone says, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, or we're going to go on this vacation. I'm like, okay, sounds fun. Go with the flow, because I realize that the expectation may not be met on thinking what it's going to be like. So I just really try to enjoy the moment as much as possible and enjoy everything that I'm doing. That's why I'm so passionate when I'm in the moment. Trust me, when this camera goes off, I go to bed. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, because I put forth a lot of energy. I exert everything I have when I'm in this motion, when I'm in this mode right now. When I'm on the phone with you guys, if I answer the phone and you guys got questions, clients, non-clients, doesn't matter. I go into the mode. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I don't want to answer the phone right now. But then I'm like, I got to, because people need that help. And I always feel better when I do it. So I'm on the phone talking. Next thing I know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half has gone by. And prior to answering that call, I didn't want to answer the call. And I force myself to do things that are uncomfortable, because there's always great payoffs for doing things that are uncomfortable. When you put yourself into an uncomfortable situation, controlled uncomfortable situation, usually the payoffs and the reward for that is tenfold. That's why things are coming to me now. I've got an amazing team of people. Amazing. Jenny. Jenny's our writer, our blog writer. She's helping with narratives, character reference letters. Some of you may have already been in contact with her. I think you spoke with her today, Chevy. And Alex, our web development team. When I say team, guys, I'm talking about we've got some amazingly talented people on our team now. There's Jenny. High five to Jenny. These are things that without people like this making the wheels in the background go, oh my God, you guys would be running the other direction, because I know what my flaws are. I know what my pros and cons, guys. You got to weigh those out. You got to know what you're good at. You got to know what you're weak at, and you got to be okay with where your weaknesses are and accept help and accept feedback and realize that you can't do everything by yourself. When you're a one-man show, you start to burn yourself out real fast. And some of the stuff that Jenny's taken on right now, I can't even tell you how important it is and how much of an impact it will have 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road. Where you're going to see this company go in 2018 has so much to do with Jenny and Alex and Alex's partner and Shelly and the Shaynas behind the scenes. I love what I do. I love getting on the phone. I love explaining it to you guys. And people like Jenny retain the information that I'm giving. They're learning it, and then they're taking that information and they're creating it into a format that can be presented to you guys in the form of lesson plans and press packets and making me look like $1,000,000. And it's because of hardworking people that are seeing what we're doing as such a positive thing that we can't help but think if we keep doing this for the right reason, the benefits, the payoffs are really unexplainable. We don't know where it's going to land, but we all feel very confident that where this ship is going is far better than any other ship any of us are currently on without the group. And without the group, the ship can't run. The ship's not going to work with just me. I've got it to this point, but now I need some shipmates. And Jenny and Alex and all of you that are clients, your guys is understanding and willing to work with us and taking the advice and listening and making our jobs not easy, but making our jobs so worthwhile. So I thank you to everybody. Excuse me. Really, you guys make this all worth it. So when we're on TV and we've got a TV show and it's RDAP Dan on some primetime television show, I'm still going to be this guy, never going to sell out. Do you believe in God and afterlife? Yes, I do believe in God. Do I have my Bible here? I do believe in God, Jesse. I'm not like I don't go religious crazy. I do believe in God. I believe that what you get out of life or what you put into life is what you're going to get out of it. I believe in God in the aspect of he's not just going to fix your life and he's not just going to put a plan in front of you. He might put options, but it's up to you to take choices and make decisions and take opportunities when they're in front of you. So I believe that if you're doing the right thing, that yes, ultimately to answer your question, I do believe in God. Were you like this before prison, or did it begin from your prison experience? Good question, Scott. So before prison, I felt like this. I thought I was like this, but really I was a procrastinator. I was a manipulator. I was a liar. My intentions were never to do such things, but I would always get myself into situations, overpromise, underdeliver. Oh, I got a guy for that, or I can help you with that. And then when it comes time to perform or do something, I don't want to do it, or one thing or another, I would forget. I was irresponsible. Just you name it, I struggled with it. And prison really brought that to light. And it wasn't just prison. It was the whole combination of, as you guys know, Chevy, Scott, all you guys are getting ready to go to prison. When you're in this situation, when you're going through pretrial, you really do hit like an all-time mental low. And it's because you feel like your world is just being ripped apart and you feel like it's not fair and you feel like, why me? But when you really start analyzing that, you start to search for answers. You start to look internal. You start to appreciate things that you didn't see before. And when I got to prison, do we got our book over here? No, I think Shelley was reading it. When I got to prison, my best friend's mother, Janice, sent me a bunch of religious books, including the Bible, and she also sent me Awaken the Giant Within from Tony Robbins. And you guys have heard me talk about that book. Everybody, I need to make it part of our client package. Is when you become a client, we need to send you that book. Jenny, if you're watching, don't let me forget that. That's a great idea. Maybe I'll purchase a bunch of, or actually we'll just do drop shipping from Amazon. Anybody that becomes a client is going to automatically get a copy of Awaken the Giant Within. And we'll also, if you're already in prison, we'll send it to you while you're in prison. That book completely altered my way of thinking very, very, very slickly. It wasn't like, you're an idiot, do this, do that. The way he explained it in that book and broke it down really brought it to my attention, and it felt like he was talking to me. Like, I was like, holy shit, like, he's talking to me in this book. And that's what everybody feels when they're reading that, specifically that book. That book had such a grasp root on me that it pushed me into a direction that once I hit RDAP, a lot of the stuff that I was reading in the book was reiterated in RDAP. A lot of the stuff that I read in the Bible was reiterated in what Tony Robbins and what RDAP was saying. So what I started to learn is motivation and better mental health really is a state of mind, and it is a positive choice. Things in the Bible are designed to make you feel good, to get you doing certain things in a certain way. Tony Robbins asks questions, gets you to take action. Focusing on negativity in your life leads to negativity. Focusing on pain versus pleasure. We talk about it all the time, and the best way to illustrate that is, you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym. All right. You tell yourself you're going to start eating better. So you wake up. It's 7 o'clock. You're supposed to go to the gym. Maybe you went the first couple times because it was exciting, but now the newness of it wore off and you're supposed to go to the gym and you're like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. I can't do it. I can't. It feels so good. I'm just going to sleep 10 more minutes. Before you know it, it felt great to stay in bed. Immediate gratification, immediate pleasure. Felt really good. But now, later on in the day, maybe you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're whatever, the thought comes that you didn't go to the gym, and it creates pain. And it's pain that is much longer lasting than that short-term pleasure of sleeping in for an extra 10, 15 minutes. So what we start to do when we're doing things like Tony Robbins, the Bible, motivational speaking, RDAP, is we start to replace poor thinking with positive thoughts. So combating that thought when you identify it, combating that thought of going just 5 more minutes in bed, combating that thought with, man, if you just force yourself up, quit being lazy, you're going to feel so much better throughout the day. So you force yourself to get up. It's a little bit uncomfortable for 5 minutes. You're in the shower. You're feeling great. Got your cup of coffee. You're out the door on the way to the gym. Already feeling like $1,000,000. The gym's just the benefit. The gym's the perk. The real life-changing experiences there is you stuck to a plan. You stuck to a short-term goal that will ultimately lead to long-term goals. You can't go from 0 to 60. You can't go from, eating every shitty thing in the world to super healthy rabbit food diet. You've got to transition slowly and realize process is a change, not an immediate event. Things do not happen overnight. Problem is our expectations, our wants, our needs. We want things now, now, now. When we give some time and we realize we're going to make mistakes, it's okay, but you get back on that horse and you keep going. And no matter how much you try, you will struggle with these things in life. And it's just a matter of getting it more under control and forcing yourself to make decisions. The more decisions you make, the better your decisions are going to be, just like anything else. Practice, practice, practice. So practice making decisions. So when those major life-changing decisions are presented to you, you will know how to make it. You'll know to make a good decision or a bad decision. But the goal is to make decisions. And don't worry about if you make a poor decision. Just make it. Because if you make a bad decision, you'll learn from it and you will stop continuing to make that same decision over and over again. Let's see if we got anything in here. Sending you a note. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Appreciate it. Jenny. That's so funny. Thanks, Jenny. What other questions we got? See, Billy's got some advice there, and Jenny's agreeing with him. I don't know the K's in theory, but something I'm going to look up. When I hear about stuff like that, especially when you see people that you hold respect for. If you have respect for somebody and they give you some advice, respect them and follow up on the advice they gave you. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but you won't know if you don't look it up. So I used to think motivational speaking and the Tony Robbins of the world were all full of shit, and they were just trying to brainwash you or trying to sell you something. And yes, they're marketing. Clearly they're making gazillions of dollars, but I don't care because I bought it. I bought into it. It's worked for me. It's helped me change my life to get to where we are today. And I couldn't have done that if I were the old me. And you guys are going to get a little taste of the old me because Jenny's working on some of our letters. I sent her, she's got a stack, and I showed you guys, we're talking a stack of letters that she's going to be reformatting so they're legible, and she's going to be putting them into the blog. Once we start putting them into the blog, we will have a letter reading event, something where I'll read some letters. These are all letters that I wrote to myself while I was in prison. Every single day that I was in prison, I wrote a letter home. From the day that I got there, pretty much, or it started a couple days after I got there, pretty much from when I got there until the last day I was there, I wrote a letter every single day. Some of them were 2 or 3 pages, and it basically lets you know the state of mind that I was in that moment while I was in prison. I think that's going to be really interesting for myself to hear too. You know, it's definitely going to bring back some moments of what I was doing in prison at a specific time. So looking very much forward to hearing that. I really want you guys, if you are just joining us now, please look at the message that I'm posting in the room. This is a guy that was down 17 years. Okay, 17 years. His name is Mike. He was down 17 years. I met him right as he was getting out. He was at Coleman Low, getting ready to go home. I was there maybe a couple of months before he got released, and he's doing exceptionally well. He's got a YouTube channel. I just posted a link in there. He's really trying to, he's doing the right thing, guys. He's got a successful vending machine company. I would like you guys, you know, I'm not saying you have to love what he's talking about. You don't have to be super passionate about his topic, but the fact that a lot of you are getting ready to go through this, go show somebody some respect that has been down for 17 years and has gotten out, is doing the right thing. And you can do that by a simple clicking on that link, subscribing to his channel, giving him a thumbs up, and maybe saying something on one of his videos, leaving him a nice comment about, hey man, it's glad to see somebody that's gone through so much be able to turn their life around and not allow where they were to define who they are and where they're going to go. Guys, it's all about defying odds. And you are your own limit. If you tell yourself you can't do something, you probably can't do it. But if you believe it, you can achieve it. And you're going to do your damnedest trying to get there. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. Say it all the time. Sorry, I had to break that up into... Oh, let me see what we're saying here. Even more so on the pain clinic side of the house. But I was a legal business. Oh, sorry. Got to back up a little bit further. I'm a youthful pervert at heart, but I have always wondered about how you went to prison. You guys had a doctor writing scripts to people. I know that really were getting them for selling or recreational use, but I am unsure. Some used for pain, some lots of doctors overprescribe. Even more so on the pain clinic side of the house, but it was a legal business with the doctor. What was illegal? I mean, the government sells Uncle Sam. Okay, but how did you guys just working at a job, did they get you in prison? It was really, really bugged me. Okay, all right, so it's a fair question. Oh, we got Shelly in the house too. What's going on, Shelly? We got Shelly, we got Jenny, we got the whole crew in here. So, and what's the name there? I got to look closer. So basically the question is why did I go to prison? What did we do wrong? How did we get in trouble? And I've done videos on this, but maybe it wasn't crystal clear because it's a rough subject to nail down. So, relevant conduct. So Shelly said it with one word, relevant conduct. But what it was, guys, is, so I worked at a pain clinic. Shelly worked at a pain clinic. Shelly was the receptionist, answering phones. I was the office manager, kind of overseeing day-to-day operations. Doctor was writing prescriptions. we would make copies of the prescriptions, hand them to the patient would take their prescription, go to a pharmacy. Now, was the doctor illegitimately writing prescriptions or over-prescribing? Me personally, I don't think so, because the amount of pills or prescriptions he was writing was far less what the average patient was getting from other people, almost to the point where these patients would get really pissed off when they would get their prescriptions. All of these patients had valid MRIs. MRIs are where you go show proof that you have something wrong with you. They take an MRI of your spine or whatever's wrong with you to show where things are out of line, out of whack, to validate why you may need a prescription. So clients would have to bring their MRIs with them. We'd have to verify the MRIs. So there were some hurdles that somebody had to go through before they could see the doctor. Now, with that said, did I have any inkling that patients were taking the pills, using them, selling them, shooting them, whatever? It was very apparent to me that people were not just using them for the prescribed dose they were supposed to be taking them at, 1 or 2 pills a day. I do believe a lot of these people were abusing it, because you could just tell by when they would come in and how far some of these patients would drive. Patients would drive from Kentucky and Ohio, wherever, down to our doctor in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. Was there anything illegal about patients driving that far? No. Did we know what the patient was going to do with the pills? No. Was it immoral? Definitely, I felt shady about it. I didn't like the way it made me feel towards the end, because you could see the people that were coming in. So I knew there was something wrong with the whole, I didn't feel great about my job, but I did not really think we were doing anything illegal. So I thought we found some loophole through the law. So that's how I justified staying there. And the amount of money that I was promised to be made that never came to fruition was the other reason why I stuck it out. Now, I also royally fucked up, and I've got videotape of this. I haven't released it yet. This is uncharted video, and I'm going to maybe chat with Jenny about it before I release it. And I don't even think you know this, Jenny. So I have video of the investigation. An undercover Chatham County narcotics officer came in to our pain clinic pretending to be a landlord of an office in Atlanta, Georgia, few counties down, that the company that I was working for wanted to also open a separate location there. So this guy supposedly was the landlord that wanted to come in and check out our operation before allowing us to move there. He came in. He wasn't supposed to meet with me. He was supposed to meet with, I believe, Sean or Al, which were 2 of the owners. Neither one of them could make it that day, conveniently. So I was asked to meet with him, being the office manager. So I met him, brought him in, showed him around. He kept asking me, is there any way the doctor would write him a prescription? And I must have said no 500 times. I said, the doctor can't. Without you having a valid MRI, there's no way the doctor can write your prescription. And he didn't really like the answer. He asked if he could meet the doctor. It's like, sure. So he introduced him to Dr. Gossett. Hey, doc, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Any way you can write me a prescription? Oh, sorry, can't do it, buddy. Can't help you. You need an MRI for that. So I kept telling him, if you want, if you have something wrong with you, you can go down and get an MRI, come back, and we can waive your visit fee, and the doctor can write your prescription. But we need some proof. And he's like, oh, I don't have time for all that. Blah blah. So kept going. Finished showing him the tour. Then he said that he hurt his back playing golf, and he left his prescription at home. And I said, well, what do you normally take? And he said, Roxycodone or something, or Oxy, something like that. We just so happened, we had 3 or 4 that were in a pill bottle that were up on a shelf. After patients leave, we go into the patient rooms and clean up the patient rooms, wipe down the beds, clean off the paper, to make sure it's presentable for the next patient. Well, we found a couple of pills at the end of a day. They were in a little, almost like a little baggie. So we emptied them out of there. We put them into an empty pill bottle and stuck them up on the shelf. And they'd been up there for weeks. Well, this guy that day, when he said, I forgot my prescription, and he told me what he normally takes, I was like, and I was cocky about it. I was like, hey, we got some here. If you want, I can just give you a couple. He's like, oh, that'd be great. What do you want for them? And I said, I'm not selling them to you. Just, I guess you need them, whatever. So I said, I'll meet you outside because I don't want to do it inside. So I went outside, gave him the pills. This is all on video. Whole thing's on fucking video. So they had me red-handed with distribution. There was hands down. There was no denying. They had me giving the guy pills. So I think they assumed that was something that we did on a regular basis, because later on when the whole indictment came out, when they brought me in for one of the interviews, like, Mr. Wise, we have a tape we want to show you. So we know that you're handing out pills. We have a tape that we want to show you of you giving somebody undercover pills. And I was like, I know exactly who it is. They're like, who is it? I said, I don't remember his name. Black guy with black curly hair, drove a red, it was either a red Camaro or a red Mustang. Said it happened one time. We had some pills in the back. I gave them to him. I was like, you guys got me. I did it. You know, I already know. You don't need to show me the video. And they played the video anyway, but I took away, you know, kind of popped their balloon. But they had me doing that one act of distribution. They couldn't get me with intent to sale because I didn't try to sell it. I just gave them the pills that were in the bottle. And they really, really used that to kind of like stick it to me extra hard, because even if I could have beat everything else, the relevant conduct from that distribution charge was relevant to the whole case. So the conspiracy guidelines still would have stuck, and I would have been still looking at 15 or 20 years, even if I was only found guilty of the one count of distribution. So that is some video that we might be releasing. Jesse says it's lagging. Is it lagging for anybody else or just Jesse? Let me know. Looks like it's going smooth on my side. Give me some feedback, everybody. We need a sound check. Sound check. Mic 1 2, mic 1 2. So what do you guys think about that? So yeah, they got Shelly. They charged me with conspiracy. They charged Shelly with misprison of a felony, and she can explain that to you if she's still on here. Shelly was she was looking at 36 months with her plea, and I was looking at a cap of 60 months with my plea. But if we had not taken the pleas, we were looking at a 52 count indictment, which could have carried 20 or more years on if we had gone to trial and been found guilty, which we all know we would have been found guilty. No brainer. It's just you, Jesse. It's just you. Maybe refresh the page. Merry Christmas. It's my dollar store coffee cup. I told you guys we raided the dollar store. Everything you see behind me, except for the hat, was from the dollar store. Good in Jersey. All right, Chevy. Chevy Chase. When Chevy first emailed me, I was like, maybe he likes Chevys. I didn't know. I mean, his real name's not Chevy. It's just part of his name, but I didn't know it was his name. Thanks. I've been silently watching you, enjoying your content since you and Joe APS collab. Just been wondering about your story. Since I heard your story, seems they really screwed you. I screwed myself though. That's the important thing to take from this is, yes, it sucked. We went through a shitty situation, but the writing was on the wall. Something didn't feel right. I didn't go with my intuition. I did it anyway. I dragged Shelly into it. I dragged my best friend into it. We all got slammed. We all went to prison for it. Ruined the friendship over it. Haven't talked to my friend since. So I'm not going to blame the feds for that. I'm not going to say the feds screwed me or they took advantage of me. We all know the feds will do what they got to do to get a case. And that's why it's important to be able to focus on potential consequences and think these things through and not be naive to situations thinking, well, I didn't know. It's not my fault. And that was I was totally played the victim role for a very long time. Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything wrong. I gave this guy pills undercover. I gave him pills on video. I mean, black and white. There was no question. You can't be like, that wasn't me on the camera. So that might be some interesting video to play for you guys. Save the video for the show. They might want it. Good call, Mr. Attic. That's a great call. They might be watching the show. I sent one of the producers a link to this live show in case they wanted to see what we talk about on the channel. But that would be great. You might be, maybe we'll save that. Its debut, national TV, prime time. Super Bowl commercial, right? This might be Super Bowl commercial worthy. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe my head's gotten a little out of... Great question, Scott. I'd like to know the answer too. What was your best day in prison, excluding the day you were released? Save the video. Best day in prison. I had two that I can think of, and I may have had more than this. And honestly, we'll probably come back to this. I'll answer the question now, but we'll probably come back to the question once we start going through the letters that Jenny's getting ready from my email, from my writing homes, because there was a lot of stuff in there. But my first best day was, so I went into prison on September 23rd. Okay, that's the day I got there. October 23rd, exactly 30 days later, I'm out walking the yard, just listening to music. One of my co-defendants is also there, Sean. Sean's like, and he sounds like a big Italian guy. He's like, "Hey, yo, Dan." That's how he sounds, kind of like a big, dumb Italian. No offense to Italians, but he just have like that kind of like, "Hey," attitude to him. He's like, "Yo, I think that's Shelly." And we look through the gate, we look through the fence, and there's Shelly on a fucking riding lawnmower cutting grass. So I'm trying not to like make a scene because she's on the other side of the fence, and you're not allowed. Usually women didn't cut grass on the days. We weren't allowed on the track when they were cutting grass, but something happened, and she was out there cutting grass, and I'm maybe 20 feet away from her, and she sees me, and she's wearing her beanie. She's got a little like gray beanie hat on, like a winter beanie, and she turns around and zips it and disappears into the woods. And I'm like, oh man, she hates me. No, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking maybe she didn't see me. I don't know what's going on. So then all of a sudden, she turns back around. She comes out. She's got her beanie off. She's got her hair kind of, she did what she could with her hands and just smiling from ear to ear, pretty much cutting the same 3-foot radius of grass over and over and over again. And I was just sitting there on the bleachers just staring at her. We couldn't wave. We couldn't do anything like that. But it was just, man, it was an amazing experience seeing her in her environment and me in my environment, and it just kind of like clashed. It was such an amazing day, and I definitely wrote about that in the letters that Jenny has. I believe anyway. I think my letters had already started by then, so Jenny should have that written down in the letters. So that was my first best day. My second best day was the day I graduated RDAP. Cannot tell you guys how good it felt to finish RDAP when I felt like I was on the fence so many times of not making it through the program. Laugh aloud. She did what she could. Thanks, babe. Being you, fixing your hair. Would you say the clinic contributed to the opioid crisis? Did you ever acknowledge the opioid crisis? How can you say he wasn't overprescribing? I didn't say he wasn't overprescribing. I'm saying based on what people were used to getting in their prescriptions, because they brought their prescription history in. So if they were getting, let's say they were getting 240 pills from every other pain clinic they were going to, this doctor would write them like 60 pills to last for the month. So I don't know if he was or was not overprescribing. In my mind, it wasn't my job to know whether he was or wasn't. I know that he was not giving them what they were used to getting because he wouldn't tell them no. He would see them. He would say, "Okay, go have a seat, and I'll review it." And after he would have his little consultation with them, and then he'd give them he would give the prescription to us, like the prescription the prescription itself, the piece of paper. We would give it to the client. The client would see it and freak out, and I would have to be the one to go to the doctor, find out why, and then I would have to take somebody in the room and explain to them why they're not getting the amount of pills that they thought they were going to get. And these people were so mad to the point that they some of them wanted to fight me over it. That's how mad they were, because they were probably going to use some, sell some. They probably had to give some to somebody for bringing them there. Who knows? There's a whole con going with it. So I do think pain clinics contributed to it. And there was just on 60 Minutes, they just did a big. Now they're talking about the manufacturers who are creating it, who are making it so readily available. If you notice now, if any of you go to a doctor on a regular basis, doctors are very, very sketchy about writing pain pills now, to where they used to give them away for a headache. You could go in with like, "Oh, my leg hurts. Here's your Oxy 30s or Percocets or Oxycontin, Roxycodone, whatever you wanted." They were just writing them off like they were candy. Now people are getting sued. They've got they're getting charged with like reckless, basically murder charges for people that are overdosing on them or killing people in car accidents. So the epidemic is definitely out of control, but I think it's starting to be a little bit more noticed in mainstream media that there's a problem. Obviously, pain clinics have been shut down across the nation, and believe it or not, there's still some that are open. I do not know how. Were you doing dope at the time? Was I doing dope? No. I mean, I smoked a little bit of weed here and there, drank a little, but I've never been, I never used pills. I've never done any drug other than marijuana. The marijuana is the only drug that I've ever, not to say marijuana is the greatest drug in the world, or it's better or worse than anything else. But for me, marijuana is the only thing that I've ever done. And, you know, drinking alcohol. Marijuana is how I was able to get into RDAP, was my marijuana use. That's what qualified, and alcohol. So alcohol and marijuana is what qualified me for the residential drug addiction program. Those are some good questions, guys. You guys asked some really good questions on this video. I'm really didn't know where the video was going to go because we just did a Q&A. And that was good stuff. I'm glad you guys asked those questions. I'm sure you gave some good content for Jenny. Jenny's going to be putting up some amazing blogs, guys. Look, if you guys want to email Jenny, blog at rdapdan.com. Blog at rdapdan.com. Tell her your story. Here also, before I forget, if I have helped if you guys want to do me a favor, here we go. Let's copy this right quick. Where's it at? Gotta find it. So on my Facebook page, there is an option on there to rate me, 1 star or 5 stars on my Facebook company page. Here's a link to my Facebook company page. Do me a favor, if I have in any way, shape, or form influenced your life, helped you out, if you feel that these videos are useful to you, go on my Facebook page and leave a comment. Punch those stars. If you want to give me 1 star because you hate me, you think I suck, give me 1 star. If you want to give me 5 stars because you think RDAP Dan rocks, then give me 5 stars. But I would love to see what you guys think and feel about what I do. I know not everybody's a client, and I get emails all the time from people. I actually just got another, I'll probably play it for you guys in the next video. I just got another video, audio voicemail from a lady that she said how much we've helped her and her husband. So I'll probably share that with you guys. But I would love for you guys to go onto my Facebook page and leave a review. Let people know what your experience has been like joining this community's method type of an atmosphere of people helping people. Because I think you guys rock. And if I could go leave you a review somewhere, I would leave you guys a review. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. How's that work? My 80-year-old mother has to get a drug test, an hour-long class every month to get her 60 Vicodin per month. That's crazy. And what is she on Vicodin for, Robert? Vicodin's, I mean, Vicodin, I guess, isn't as strong as the rest. And you guys got to realize there is a physical addiction to these drugs. People may start on them for legitimate pain because the doctor said, oh, here's a prescription. This will help you with your pain. And you take these every day, you become physically dependent on these drugs. And that's the scary thing, to see how much they can control people, to see what people will do. So I do feel like I got what I deserved by going to federal prison. Regardless of whether I was trying to commit a crime or not, just being engaged in that type of environment was not something I'd ever want to be part of again. And I contributed to drugs getting out of the street into people's hands, and people selling them, into children's hands, into people not being able to take care of their kids because they were buying drugs instead of food. So there was a giant ripple effect from my choice to work there for solely wanting to make a lot of money, was the only reason I wanted to work there. For my choice of wanting to work there, onto people possibly losing their life to drugs. So I do believe that I played a role in what caused people's lives to downward spiral. I can't make somebody take or not take drugs, but I can sure choose not to put myself in an environment that's going to make it any easier for them to get them. And like Robert's saying, his mother's got cancer. That's who the drugs are designed for. These type of drugs are designed for that type of pain. It's not, the problem is people are getting it for sore wrists, sore backs, and then they've got bad backs for the rest of their life. And really there's this combination of mental addiction or mental pain and physical pain, and mental addiction and physical addiction. It just creates a monster that's very hard to undo. So I don't wish that on anybody. Email me. I would love to hear your stories and thoughts, or tell me what you like to hear more of Dan. Yeah, Jenny's really going to help guide some of these videos in a direction to really give you guys what you're looking for. So, you know, Jenny's watching because she enjoys watching, but she's also watching to see what we can do better. So Jenny is like the wizard behind the curtain. I'm just the guy in a Santa hat. Sorry she's got cancer, Robert. That's horrible. Cancer. I'm scared of cancer. That's one thing I am scared of. I think I'd rather have AIDS than have cancer. Does that sound crazy? I'd rather have AIDS than cancer. I mean, AIDS is manageable now. It's almost, I imagine, it seems like there's a cure for it, to be honest. But cancer, depending what you got, when you find out you got it, man, what a way to go. That's just horrible. I don't wish that on anybody. Cancer is what killed my father. I know a lot of you. I bet everybody in this room either knows somebody, either lost somebody directly or knows somebody that's lost somebody from cancer. So it's pretty scary. Well, guys, I think we're about an hour into this video. I think we're going to wrap it up. Got here late. What's up, Jay? Glad you could join us. Any questions I missed? Anybody got a last-minute question? I'm on disability and been on 400 milligrams a day of morphine and 4 dilaudid with morphine and Xanax. Wow, that's a lot. And my doctor said I will soon be having to go to a pain clinic as he won't be my doctor. I got disability now. It sucks having to be on them, but I have real medical issues that can't be fixed. Oof, that's rough. Rough. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, best thing I can say, if you're in true pain, you know, obviously, you know, you got to deal with it. You got to take what you got to take. But if you have insurance, try to get involved in some kind of physical therapy. Try to force yourself to do as little exercise as you can, or force yourself to do as much exercise as you can, even if it's a little bit. I saw guys come into prison that thought they were on their deathbed, not just physically sick, but things wrong with them. They had all kinds of ailments, and the prison lifestyle cured them. And really what it was just detoxing their body and walking that damn track. I saw people do things they never thought they were going to do again. Diabetes cured, high blood sugar, all these different crazy things that doctors are like, oh, take a pill, take a pill. People were fixing it with good old-fashioned exercise and cleansing their body. So I'm not saying that works for everybody, but I am telling you that will help. When we see all these people, these comedians that are 400 pounds, 500 pounds overweight, and all of a sudden they die, we're like, oh man, he was so young. But you didn't do anything to prevent it. You know, you got one life, one health, one body. You know, until cloning is more readily available, what you got is what you got. And if you're not taking care of it and you're abusing it, it's going to crap out on you at some point. And, you know, have a little bit more respect for yourself and the people that care about you, and just get out there and try to, no one's saying you got to go super health nut, but try to find some balance in life. It's all about balance. That's right. With some water, some coffee, a little balance. All right. Anyway, that's about it for now. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. I will see you guys on Saturday, and don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but maybe Jenny will have some awesome topics. Maybe some of you will email. Maybe some of you have some great ideas that you want to talk about. Yeah. Maybe some of you are going to email Jenny at blog@rdapdan.com. blog@rdapdan.com. Tell Jenny an amazing story about yourself and relate it to how it can be viable and great information for somebody else to learn from something you've went through. Robert E., good night. I love how Robert E. calls me Mr. Dan. You can call me Mr. Dan if you want, Robert, or you can call me Dan, or you can call me RDAP Dan. Mr. Dan works. All right, Jenny, I appreciate you guys. Everybody, have a safe night. Go out and do something fun. Get ready for the holidays. Do not let what's coming bog you down. Enjoy the moment. Go get a picture with anybody gets a picture with Santa. I want to see it, and we will show it on the channel, and we will give a little backstory to it. Love every single one of you. You guys have fun every day. People helping people, one day at a time. Community as method. All right, guys. Peace.